Hello, and welcome to Applied Nostalgia, a podcast that applies post 9/11 thought patterns and analyses onto pre 9/11 television. In other words, Cale and Evan talk about old TV shows. For updates, follow us on Twitter at SoWellRead, that's at SOWELLRED. So stick around for a few laughs, and you just might learn something along the way.
Hello, I'm Cale.
Hi, I'm Evan.
Today we watched Something Wilder, episode 114, entitled Hanging with Mr. Cooper. It stars Gene Wilder as Gene. Its original air date was March 14th, 1995, a.k.a. Pi Day.
Oh,
I know you'd be excited about that.
I love me that.
So this was an NBC sitcom starring Gene Wilder in the mid-90s, and it went really well. It lasted a whole season.
Oh, yes.
And it looked like Gene Wilder wanted to commit suicide the entire time.
He looks like a guy stuck between a rock and a hard plaque.
It looks like he tried to sell out and wanted to cash in on his name and make a lot of money, but then regretted that decision immediately and didn't want to be there. And he's got such expressive eyes because he's a great actor that you could tell that the whole time, even though he was still performing technically better than everybody else in the show. But it was just kind of sad. So can you give us a one-sentence synopsis of this show?
Alice Cooper comes to town and Gene Wilder goes over there and then they do it and the wife is there too. She likes Gene Wilder. The end.
Yeah, she does like Gene Wilder. She married him.
What?
So the show starts off with Gene and Jack, who's his partner in the advertising
Ad
business
agency.
and they're talking to Mrs. Thornton, and she's mad at their pitch because they're trying to get her account for the water park or whatever.
I don't think it's a water park.
She goes, "I didn't like any of the pitches you guys gave me," and he goes, "Not even pitch 23, where we have bikini-clad girls in Ferraris."
I love that. That's pretty funny.
I know I'd go to the water park a lot if there was girls in bikinis and Ferraris there.
Yeah, the thing is, how are they going to afford Ferraris?
That's what I was gonna say. It's those are pretty expensive cars. I mean, they're at least a couple $1,000s.
It's like $50,000 for a Ferrari.
And how are they gonna afford girls? That's even more expensive.
A prostitute is $30 an hour.
That seems kind of low.
You trust me. It's pretty low.
Where do you find them?
You know that 7-Eleven off of Cheshire Street?
Yeah, the cat used to live there.
Yeah, go to Cheshire Street, take a left, go up to Tom's apartment, and yell at the window, go, "I want to do it. I want to have sexy." And then you get a girl, and she come down.
So why do I have to go to Tom's apartment if they're across the street and seeing me?
Because the acoustics at Tom's apartment are perfect. So it bounces down, and then they come out, and they come up to Tom's.
Couldn't I just go to the brothel?
You don't skip the middleman, man.
That's the very definition of cutting out the middleman, is to cut out the middleman.
If you don't get it, in the business of sex, you will get literally cut with a knife if you try to cut out Tom, because Tom charges you $50 to walk into his apartment. It's a walker's fee because his rug is Chinese.
I heard The Walking Dead has a walker's fee. No, actually, I went to a whorehouse once.
Yes.
And they had deviled eggs sitting on a table.
Oh, jeez.
And I really wanted to have them, but I just didn't know how long they'd been there.
I can give you a fucking prediction.
Well, I was just going to say, those are a thing that you don't want to just stick your hand in and see how warm they are. Because, first of all, your hand's not that adept at touching temperature unless it's, very hot or very cold.
Speak for yourself, of course.
Your hand's not going to be able to tell the difference between 72 and 76 degrees, is it?
I don't know, dude. I've changed a lot of diapers.
Okay, well...
Okay, I've never changed a diaper.
You've never changed any, but you filled a few.
Hey, everybody was 12 once.
Everybody shit the bed.
There's no need to be ashamed. You shit the bed, you shit your bed, baby. You take the sheet, pile it up, and throw it out the window.
Or put it in my closet.
Or shove it in your closet, and then get down in the refrigerator and start trying to understand the intricacies of a cup.
But yeah, so I don't know anything about testing out deviled egg temperatures.
It's funny. It sounds like you do because you.
Well, I do,
talking about
but
it.
I don't know enough to like. I'm not gonna just jam a deviled egg in my mouth at a whorehouse unless I know how long it's been there.
I concede.
They have the brilliant idea, which is also pitch number 23. They said of the bikini-clad girls.
Michael Jordan, anyone?
Yeah, I mean Michael Jordan has like a lot of Ferraris and a lot of girls in bikinis around, and it worked out well for him.
Oh God!
So I want to know what the first 22 pitches are if they got all the way down to that one.
I don't even want to think of it because it's stupid. I don't want to waste my mental energy.
So Mrs. Thornton, the water park owner or tourism
Are
owner.
you sure it's a water park?
Well, they were pitching it
Was
for.
I not listening?
They were pitching it for a water park, but she's like the tourism council guy.
Okay.
I just call her a
guy. She looks like a guy. Stupid face, and stupid shoes, and stupid coat.
They pitched that for the water park, and she goes, I don't know, we got to promote the wholesome image of the town. And then Annie comes in, who's Gene Wilder's wife, and she goes, hey, did you use the Norman Rockwell pitch?
The Norman Rockwell? That's for the Chinese restaurant they were going to do after.
Yeah, it's an Asian guy who came over, and he changed his first name to Norman, but then he just thought it was funny to call himself Walkwell. Like, he's a really good cook. Annie comes in and says, did you use the Norman Rockwell pitch instead for Stockwell? Stockbridge. I said Stockwell, but I think I just wrote the town wrong.
I think you're thinking about Snackwell cookies.
Why do they call it Snackwell if it's not satisfying?
They're not that good, I'll tell you what. I've had a Snackwell, more like Snack Good, because the grammar in that sentence is as good as the flavor is in the food.
More like Snack Mediocre. So Annie comes in and says, did you use the Norman Rockwell pitch instead for Stockbridge? Stockbridge is the town they live in. They say, oh, no, we're going to. And then Mrs. Thornton really loves it. And they actually didn't want to use that because Norman Rockwell is kind of old hat.
Oh.
He's kind of typical 50s America. And it's not exactly exciting for these highfalutin ad guys. You know, to be honest, people probably would like that a lot.
Of course they would. This is the fucking 90s. He was still pretty popular in the 90s.
It's not edgy. It's not going to put off people.
I don't understand.
It's going to get the people with money there because they're going to think, this is a nice town.
Norman Rockwell represents every reason that I moved to America.
Yeah, where are you from again?
I'm from Slovakia. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I Nigerian princed you, and then we ended up hitting it off.
Yeah, well, you gave me most of the money back after I beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, I only felt it was right because my legs were broken, and you said you wouldn't drag me back to the house.
Well, yeah, I mean,
So I done tell you, I'll give you the money back. Drag me back to the house.
I got you in that cabin up in the woods, and I bricked your legs together like Kathy Bates style. And then I took the money back, and then I carried you all the way over here and was like, you're all right.
And I'm like, you're all right also.
You know, my son who just got bar mitzvah really isn't comfortable with this situation.
Hey, your son, he's from a generation of people who don't understand the value of a holler.
Listen, I agree, but I'd like you to not talk about my son like that.
Hey, he's my son too, dude.
No, he's not.
I called him. I said, dibs.
I don't think that makes somebody your kid.
Listen, from Slovakia.
I've said that about sandwiches, and they're not my kids.
I own your son. And if you dispute that, then I'm the World Wrestling Federation champion, tag team 2007. And we will wrestle over your son.
You're that overweight that you're a tag team by yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't agree to that.
You don't agree because you know I'll get you. Because I'm WCW Wild Wrestling Champion.
I don't think so, you jabroni.
Oh, Malorgy. That's copyrighted.
Yeah, by me.
Oh, fucking copyright you.
I wrote for the WWE for 26 years, and I have my own son who got bar mitzvah last month.
Okay.
Okay.
Beep, beep, beep. Okay, I'm reset.
Okay. So they pitched that idea of Norman Rockwell, and Mrs. Thornton loves it. And then she leaves and goes, I'll come back tomorrow so we can hear more about this. She shuts the door, and Gene Wilder goes, hey, maybe if we do well in this, we could get some better accounts.
What a line.
I mean, it's like he knows so much about accounting that he said the entire business model in like one sentence.
Hey, maybe if this goes well, we can do what we have to do to stay in business.
Hey, maybe if this goes well, we can get other clients and then make more money.
Hey, crazy idea here. maybe if we sell things, we can sell other things because we proved that we could sell this first thing.
Weird theory. What if we do our job well, and then that leads to more jobs?
I don't know. It seems too logical.
So then it cuts to Gene Wilder and his wife Annie laying in their bed together at their house.
No. You skipped the part where the music starts playing.
That's
after
what
that
happens when they're in.
No, it happens first, and then they say, it'll probably stop, and then they cut to the room.
Oh my god, they do.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, everybody. I know you're really into the continuity of the show. So after they say they're going to get better accounts, loud music starts. Loud rock and roll music.
Wow.
And then they go, new neighbors, huh? That was Jack. He was really cool.
I love Jack.
But then they go, yeah, it'll probably stop. And then they end up cutting upstairs. Gene Wilder's in the bed with Annie. And the music's still going. And Annie says, they played this 17 times. And then Gene goes,
18 times, actually, is the amount that they've played it.
So they disagree about that, which is really funny. It's like it's played so much that they don't even know how many times it got played.
And also, doesn't it say something about the difference between men and women? Because she's not good at counting, and he's smart.
I mean, they think Hillary Clinton can be president, but I mean, look at this 17, 18 time debate. I don't think so.
Classic bit.
It's funny because women aren't equal to men.
Men are like squirrels. They got a lot of nuts. Oh.
Hey, high five.
I touch my nuts when I watch TV to remind myself of why I'm on top of the food chain.
You know, sometimes when I'm eating peanuts, I'm like, I'm pretty squirrely.
Oh, yeah, you feeling squirrely? I told my wife that if she had nuts, I'd like her more.
I told my son, you got nuts, kid. You got nuts. He stood up to me one day, and I was like, you got nuts.
Yeah, weren't that when his room got all dirty?
Yeah, his room got really dirty, and I said, you know what, Marvin? It looks like your closet power barfed all over the place. He was like, you know what, Dad? I don't think so. And I said, you got balls. When
your son stood up to you, I was like, if I could hold your nuts and mine at the same time.
Listen, man, stay away from my kid.
Hey, listen, buddy. It's not sexual. It's like the Romans.
You know what? I'd appreciate it if you'd stay away from my kid. So they go, he's played this 17 times. And then Gene says,
18.
So then Gene has to go over to tell the neighbor to turn the music down. What's really funny is that this rock and roll music is going on and this big party's happening and everything. And it's so crazy and such a rock and roll party that a juggler is the one that opens the door.
I couldn't believe it.
Like, how did they get a juggler?
Oh my god, a juggler.
This is a hardcore rock party, and they have a juggler just hanging out.
Did you see all the tricks he was doing with the balls?
Yeah, he like had like 3 balls going.
Yeah.
And then he decided to open the door, so he was just juggling 2 in one hand.
Didn't
and then,
stop juggling for even a moment.
And then Gene Wilder's like, I'm looking for the owner of the house. And the guy points over to this guy by the stereo. And then he goes over to the guy by the stereo. And he goes, I'm looking for the owner of the house. Yeah. And you know, you got to remember this like really loud music playing over this whole thing. I'm looking for the owner of the house. And then the guy at the stereo is like, oh, you found him? And he goes, I thought you were him. And the guy's like, I'm the owner of the mouse. And then Gene Wilder's like, I was looking for him. And the guy goes, the mouse? And then Gene Wilder goes, the owner of the house. And the guy goes, what house? So then that happens. It's a really, 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 really funny Abbott and Costello-like routine. They had the prescient minds to take vaudeville, which was so popular 70 years earlier, and then move it into the 90s. That's what we need more in the 90s is just more vaudeville, right?
Hey, post-Cold War, let me give you a little bit of soupy sales for y'all.
Hey guys, it's the 1990s. Let's go back to the times when movies couldn't even have sound.
You know what? I wish the show didn't have sound.
I do too. I really do. This might be one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life.
Without sound, this is just a show about Gene Wilder wanting to kill himself.
Without sound, it's just very sad man.
It's just a story of a man contemplating suicide.
It's just a story about a man regretting every decision in his life.
I love that. It's like looking in the mirror.
And it's only 20 minutes long, which I wish my life was.
I wish my life was 10 minutes. I wish my life was a infomercial for the magic bullet and I'd put it in my head. But I'm kidding. I like being alive.
You know what? I have a theory about that.
Yes.
Magic bullet theory.
Wait, what?
JFK.
Oh my god. Oh yes. Cale and I were talking earlier, you see? We came up with it, we figured out it. We figured out it.
I think that the bullet that killed JFK was actually
Machine.
from a Stargate / time machine scenario where there was a wall of open like goop that you could walk through and go back to some other time, but it was set to that morning on that Dallas road, and the guy shot his gun from the present back into the past, killed him, and that's why they could never find him.
And we fucking figured it out. Some people say constellations are a lot like conspiracy theories because you're just connecting dots and making an image. But I say, I like constellations. I like the truth, and we figured it out.
Some say constellations are like connecting the dots, and I say actually that connect the dots are a lot like connecting the dots.
I say, I like connecting the dots because it's like a drawing.
It's like a drawing that you don't actually have to think of.
I don't like thinking, baby. I like doing. I like having sex. Call me.
So there was that hilarious exchange between Gene Wilder and this guy who has the mouse. Gene's looking for the guy, the owner of the house. The guy goes, "Oh, you found him?" And then yada, yada, yada. The guy actually owns a mouse for some reason, and that's an important enough part of his life. That's how he identifies himself as the owner of the mouse. And I think that's saying something because, he's a fairly attractive guy. He's
fairly? More like fairly. What?
Unless you're saying like he's ethereally beautiful, then I agree. He has long hair. He's kind of a rocker.
Oh my god!
He's in good shape. He's wearing a tight T-shirt.
Oh god!
He actually, his name's Renfield in the show, and he's Alice Cooper's bodyguard, kind of security guy.
Oh, he's so cool to me.
But he's got a lot going for him. But he reduces himself down to just the owner of a mouse. I think he's got low self-esteem.
He has.
And I don't know, somebody should do something for him.
People with mice have low self-esteem. People with gerbils have high self-esteem.
I used to have mice.
Ugh, yeah, what do you mean, like an infestation or like a pet?
No, as pets.
I could have predicted that.
Well, yeah, I have horrible self-esteem.
Mice give people bad self-esteem.
I wouldn't say they.
It starts with the mouse and it goes up to the house.
I wouldn't say they give it, but they definitely show you that it exists.
Let's just say they don't reinforce good self-image.
So Gene Wilder then gets frustrated with this conversation of the owner of the house? No, the owner of the mouse. He gets fed up with that, and he goes home back to his bedroom. Goes talk to his wife, and she says like, "Gene, turn it down." And then he goes, "Annie." And then he goes back.
Is he British?
No.
He sounds British in this show.
But he goes back to the party, and then he finds this other woman, and he says, "I'm looking for the owner of the house." And she goes, "Alice?" And he goes, "Yeah, where is she?" And then she goes, "Who?" And then that goes on for about
stupid.
That repeats about 3 times.
So dumb.
And you get it because he's looking for the owner of the house, and she goes, "Alice?" Because Alice owns the house. And then he says she, but it's actually a he, so she doesn't know who he's talking about.
But it doesn't make any sense. How does she forget that they're talking about a organism because he gets the gender wrong?
She's not forgetting. She's just living in the moment.
She's stupid.
So they go through the 3 rounds of I'm looking for the owner of the house.
It's so funny. I was the one knocked out after those 3 rounds.
They said going a round with Tyson is hard. Try going 3 with Gene Wilder and this girl that I don't know. He goes home back to his wife, and she says,
"This time,
would you turn it down again?" And then he goes, "Annie,
I'm trying. Do you want me to go over there?" "No, I'll go over there."
So then he goes back a 3rd time.
3 times the charms.
These guys are pro writers. They know that the rule of 3s exists. They don't know how to use it, but they know it exists.
They know how to do it on the large scale. They know not with jokes or actual dialogue.
They know 3 things have to happen.
3 things have to happen.
They just assume that it magically makes it funny if they do it 3 times. So then he comes into the house, and he's like, "Where is the owner of the house? Where is Alice?" And then the music cuts out, and then everyone points at this figure that's in the back of the room with long hair that's not facing the camera, and the person turns around, and guess who it is? Alice Cooper.
no.
That was a good approximation of the guitar sting they did when they turned around, which they really did. Gene Wilder says, turn it down. And Alice Cooper goes, you've heard my music? And Gene Wilder says, constantly. And then Alice Cooper says, what track did you like? And then Gene Wilder says, that one that sounds like a cat screeching? And then Alice Cooper goes, wow, that's the one my producer likes.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the end of that.
That's pretty funny. You gotta laugh.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha, ha.
Now, this is no Migo, but it's still really funny.
Yes, it's very good. It's very funny. I've listened.
I mean, I am such a debonair Englishman that I do not tend to laugh at such larks, but I did get my jollies going a bit.
I'm very smart. I went to school up to the 8th grade. I'm an 8th year student. I learned how to use commas.
Did you learn how to use the Oxford comma? Because that's what I learned when I was at Oxford.
If you brag, you're not much of a smart guy. You're more like a fart guy.
Well, you know what they always say? I'm a smart guy.
Smart guy. Created by Danny Callis.
I'm never working for this guy again.
I love it.
So then Gene Wilder says, you really got to turn it down. I can't sleep. It's horrible. I'm hearing this music all night. And then Alice Cooper goes, well, it's better than waking up in the morning to la, 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 la.
We're a big old family.
So Alice Cooper really dislikes Barney. And I don't know what world he lives in, but A, he's a rich guy, and B, he's living close enough to neighbors to hear them play Barney in the morning for their kids.
Or he sneaks out and sits in their window.
That's a really strange lifestyle that Alice Cooper's living. Or maybe one of the people at the wild parties he has leaves the TV on, and Barney is what wakes him up in
So
the
they
morning.
watch PBS at night. They watch nature document. Oh, I mean, they watch nature like a fucking tiger attacking a dude.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty rock and roll, but I just think the guy that owns the mouse is pretty into nature.
I believe you were true. I believe your aim is true, and your aim is to be correct, and you're correct.
My aim is just. Alice Cooper's like, we'll turn it down, but you got to give us a minute. We're shooting a video here. We can get this German girl to keep you company. And he's like, no, thanks, I'm married. And he goes, yeah. And then he sends this German dominatrix girl who's in leather over to him, and she starts rubbing on him. And he doesn't like it, and she's like, stay down. And she starts like kind of hitting him a little bit. And then he lays down on the couch, and he's like, I'm not moving. And then she gets off of him. He stands up, and then the mouse
we've been hearing about,
it runs up his pant leg. And like he starts grabbing by his like junk. I'm not gonna say any dirty words, but
he grabs his wee.
He like starts grabbing around that area, his bathing suit area.
Oh my god, he went there.
He was touching his bathing suit area like the mouse was up there.
The mouse touched his wee, and that's all right with Mimi.
This just in. This is Walter Cronkite. A mouse touched Gene Wilder's winky.
Yes, Mr. Cockright up on the ground in Bridgeford, and a mouse touched Gene Wilder's junk, and we're all waiting around to see if Gene Wilder's gonna sue the mouse. Back to you, Mr. Cronkite.
Well, thanks a lot, Sam. We'll get back to you as anything develops.
Yeah, that's cool. See you, good.
I said thanks a lot. Don't talk anymore.
Hey, Cronkite, I want to be sitting in that chair.
Are you drunk right now?
You're drunk, you fucking hack. Go back to Vietnam.
Cut the feed. You're fired.
So the mouse runs up his pant leg, and then it cuts to him waking up in the morning in his own bedroom. Gene Wilder.
Oh, clarify, please. My imagination's going wild.
Annie comes in, and Gene Wilder's sleeping on he's sleeping on the right side of his face. Left side of his face.
Oh, no.
He's sleeping on the left side of his face, all right?
We should go back to the footage for this.
Okay.
Quick.
Yeah.
Annie, my face is on the left side.
Oh, thank you, Gene.
I
know Gene can't actually hear me, but I like to thank him for his good work in this show.
I always thank the movie after it's done playing. Thank you, movie.
Well, I mean, if it's enjoyable, I'll thank it. If it's not, then I'll pan it. Annie comes in, and he's sleeping on the left side of his face, and she says, good afternoon. And he goes, oh, what time is it? And she goes, 11:30.
I took issue with that.
Yeah, it's not funny or smart.
It's not, because it's not afternoon. It's still fucking morning. Be real.
Is she that stupid?
AM, PM, or in her case, PMS.
Listen, you guys, I don't want to just bash on women, but I feel like this show is just asking for it.
Oh, come on.
She doesn't know the difference between 11:30 and the afternoon. It's like she thinks it's 31 minutes after when it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, live in the moment like the dominatrix.
It's like, hey, if I want to watch a show, I don't watch it a half hour after it's on. I watch Something Wilder right at 8 o'clock.
That's funny. You know, it's like when I get ready, I like to get ready for my meeting, not a half an hour after my meeting. Maybe that explains a few things about women putting their makeup on. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's why every time I go to pick my wife up for a date.
Date night. Ugh.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Ugh.
You know, sometimes I just want to sit and watch the game with my bros.
I want to watch the game, want to high five the bro, eat a nacho, drink a beer.
Maybe even let my kid have a beer. He's a man now.
My kid's not drinking beer.
He went through bar mitzvah. He's my kid. We established this.
My kid doesn't drink beer. My kid drinks wine coolers.
I'm not letting you near my kid. You know what? I think I'm going to maybe have to kick you out of this house.
My kid is a man. He rides a motorcycle.
I'm really disturbed at how you're thinking he's your kid. I think we need to have an intervention here. Maybe call a psychiatrist or a therapist and do something about this.
You're on the phone. I'm not against it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine with it. I know I have a problem.
Well, acknowledging your problem is the first step to recovery.
You know, because I got the problem that I got some fucking jokester over here thinking that my kid is somehow his, and that's my problem.
You realize you came into my son's life when he was 12 and like 10 months just because you stole money from me? You have no claim to
You
him.
don't know. You can't prove any of that.
I have documented bank statements.
Listen,
You've never set foot in this country according to your passport.
I don't want to talk about it
You know
anymore.
what? I think we need to go on Maury and find out.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, we'll call Maury and like have this set up.
Let's get on the same page here. We're going on that moray eel.
No, we're going on the show, the critically acclaimed show Maury, the adult talk show, daytime talk show.
Okay, I'll go on there with you.
They'll give us a paternity test. Not a fraternity test.
I was gonna say,
I mean,
I'm in the frat. I'm in Sigma Pi Cum Hole.
I know you want to like hang out with your bros some more, but you know we gotta paternity.
I want my
test.
son to meet my bros, the people that made me who I am.
Not your son.
I want my son to be just like me and
Again?
not like you.
Not your son.
I want him to be just like me and not like you.
Not your son.
We'll talk about it on the more eel.
Okay, we'll get there on Maury.
Eel.
Maury.
Ale.
Maury.
What are we on? Something wilder?
Yes.
I'm the guy with the moray eel.
I'm looking for the Maury.
The who?
The Maury.
The house?
No, the show.
You're going at the wrong direction. It's right past 7-Eleven.
This is a one-way street.
You're a one-way street.
I'm looking for Maury.
I'm the guy with the mouse.
Isn't that fun? It's not frustrating at all.
It's not. It's funny. It goes places.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Character development.
It doesn't circle around and mind-numbingly bore you.
Well, I'm like this. You're like that. Character development.
It's like I want to start doing trepanning in my brain to alleviate the pressure that this great bit is costing me.
I want to chill. I want to listen to some Pink Floyd. That's what makes me want to do. It just fucking expands my mind.
Well, okay,
dude.
you can expand your mind that way. I'm literally going to expand my mind by trepanning my brain and drilling holes into my skull.
Hey, dude, to each her own.
Hey, whatever. I'll do what I do. And I know you called me a woman, and I appreciate it.
Hey, my son's got a mother and he's got a father. Me, the father.
I'm not quite sure.
Listen, I'm trying to pivot here and make this more reasonable for you and your condition.
What do you think this is, basketball? There's no pivoting
Hey,
allowed.
listen, I played pig.
You played pig with the girl you went on a date with last week.
Hey, that's my son's mother. You don't talk about her like that. But anyways, back to something wilder.
Actually, to be fair, that's my son's father and not related
You're
to you at all.
confusing me. You're the guy with the kid?
Yes, I am.
I'm the guy with my son.
No, yeah, you can take your own son, do whatever you want with that pile of crap.
Yeah,
He's
don't
a
call
nerd.
your son a piece of crap.
No, your son's a piece of crap.
No, my son's your son.
Your son is a nerd. He's a chess geek. My son's cool. He's on a football
Hey.
team. He's a bro like me.
You're describing someone awful lot like my son right now.
I think I'm describing my son, and your son is looking in the mirror.
I have no son. We'll talk about this later because it's getting confusing.
Oh God. So,
Something wilder.
The good afternoon. What time is it? It's 11:30. No, so she doesn't know it's morning, which is like, a huge character flaw.
Oh, get a life.
Like, why is she allowed to have a job? She should be in a mental institution.
I totally agree.
It's like,
Go to the institution, get help.
it's like, what did they set clocks back during the show overnight, and I wasn't alerted to this?
Oh, some crazy OCD thing. Like she's trying to pretend she can travel backwards in time.
It's like, hey, I know this was the 90s, so they changed clocks back in October, and it looked a little chilly out because he was wearing a robe when he went next door.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't think they changed the clocks in the middle of the night.
No, they didn't. You know what? The more I think about this, the more it pisses me off, and the more I realize that she is crazy and she's trying to live forever by turning the clocks back a half an hour every day. So she adds a half hour to her life, therefore never dying. And JFK was killed by a time machine
Well, that's
bullet.
true. Every 48 days, she actually saves a day of her life.
That's super genius, actually.
I've started doing it in my own life.
God, I gotta start doing that. I'm gonna have my son do it too.
No,
Okay.
my son already did it, and he actually had his bar mitzvah twice.
How old is your son?
13.
My son's 14.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
unless
weird.
you're talking about your own kid that you have, that's not my son.
No, my son, he's 14, and he hasn't done the time machine thing yet.
And you do realize that changing a couple days is not a year, right?
Listen, I don't want to talk about the logistics.
Hey, well,
I just want to talk about the truth.
what's your son's name?
What's your son's name?
I asked you first. It's your son. You
My
know
son's,
his
his name is I asked you first.
No, that's not true. Unless you're talking about someone that's
No,
not my
no,
son.
that's not true. That's not true as your daughter. You asked me first as your son.
No, for real. What's his name?
That's not his name.
You've lived here for 3 months and you don't even know his name yet. You're claiming to be his father.
Not true.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm saying not true. Can you give me a bowl of pretzels?
That's not anyone's name in this house.
I know anyone's name is anyone, of course.
I think we really need to call this psychiatrist and maybe get you to jail. This is very insane.
Don't tell anyone.
I'm sorry, folks.
Don't tell anyone.
This will stay between us and my son, whose name you don't know.
Okay.
So he gets up, and you get to see the left side of his face,
Oh, this is funny.
and he has eye makeup on, and it looks kind of like Alice Cooper's eye makeup. It's almost as if Alice Cooper and his wild rockin' friends put this makeup on Gene Wilder.
No, no way.
And he didn't even remember this happening.
He must have drank so much booze.
Oh my God, he was probably wasted.
Oh, I like drinking.
He was probably chocolate wasted.
I love being chocolate wasted. And get this, Gene Wilder's wife immediately goes, "Why does your makeup look like Gene Wilder?" I mean,
So you said he woke up with Gene Wilder makeup on.
his wife says, "You look like you have Alice Cooper eye makeup on."
And then he goes, "I thought you didn't know the neighbor." And then she says, "Alice Cooper's our neighbor?" She freaks out and she loves Alice Cooper. She said she lost her virginity listening to one of his songs.
Did you think that was kind of gross for her to be like, talk about her vagina on screen?
No, actually, I didn't.
I didn't either. I thought it was fine.
I thought it was suitable for primetime television.
You're such a progressive.
I'm a registered Democrat.
I'm a registered independent.
I'm a fiscal Cliff.
How is Cliff doing?
He's good.
That's good.
I'm
Cliff
just-
is a good guy.
He's just really good with money. That's why I call him Fiscal Cliff.
I like glut oil.
I like peak oil. He's just a dude who comes when he yells oil.
Oil! How you doing, guys? We're good. See you later, Peak. We're going to go hang out with Fiscal Cliff. I'm sorry for all this political humor.
I'm sorry, we hang out with a lot of cool guys. She lost her virginity to Alice Cooper, which I find a little weird. Not to Alice Cooper, but while listening to Alice Cooper.
That would have changed the storyline.
It would have been more interesting.
It would have, because he'd been like, You had sex with Gene. Wait, why do I keep doing that? You had sex with Alice Cooper? And that would have been funny because then they would have had to reconcile.
So he says, "Oh, you weren't into our neighbors when there was the one that won the Nobel Prize next door." And she goes, "I didn't lose my virginity listening to him."
I listened to it listening to Alice Cooper's 17, my favorite album.
Even though she didn't say that.
I presume.
That'd be nice if they actually plugged some of his good music.
'Cause I'm 18 and I like to go to Dairy Queen.
That's not the lyrics.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I think that's it. 'Cause I'm 18. I like to go to Dairy Queen.
No.
And get a Frosty.
No, they don't even have Frosties there.
What?
That's Wendy's.
Whatever.
You literally had the first line right and then just butchered it 20 times over.
Hasn't God blessed us with funny?
There is a Jesus.
He's a good little dude.
He would be a lot shorter than us because of the time difference.
Do you think that the crosses people wear on their necks are the actual size?
No.
I think it was. I think Jesus was as big as a fly.
Jesus was a friend of mine, but I do know that he was taller than an inch.
I don't think you should go saying things you don't know for
I
fact.
do. He was a friend of mine. I just said that. Jesus
He
was
is a friend
mine.
of yours.
No, he was.
Oh,
I got a big,
what happened?
I got in a big fight with him because we both bet on the Redskins game, but he bet that the Redskins would beat the spread, and I bet that they wouldn't beat the spread, and then they actually exactly covered it, and we just didn't know who would do it.
I'm surprised that Jesus didn't bet that they were going to have to change the Redskins' name because it was inappropriate.
No, Jesus didn't care about that. He just wanted to know who's got the points.
And you said the spread, was it like a pimento spread or a cheese spread?
No, it was the spread of points of who's going to beat the other person.
So you eat that on Ritz?
No, it's actually just an ethereal, this thing called football is a game, and points are scored and accrued throughout the allotted time that you're allowed to play.
Wait, that's something.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
You put that on a Ritz.
No.
Putting on the Ritz?
No,
Is that what they say? Putting on a Ritz.
You can
put it on a Ritz.
You can put it on a DVR and you can watch it later.
Now DVR, you can eat a DVR because it's circle like a Ritz.
No, but you could put it on a bar and you could eat food while you watch it.
I like the way you think.
All
no
right.
wonder you and Jesus are friends, but
Well, we were friends.
yeah. Well, Jesus forgives, but he doesn't forget. But anyways, back to E.B. White. He said he was a woman.
No, if it was a woman, he wouldn't have been able to write so well.
I don't know why you're saying things like that.
Yeah, it's almost like you said it earlier.
I was being facetious.
So he's got the makeup on his eye, and then he goes back to his ad person job. He goes back to his job, and Jack is like, "Oh, geez, will that makeup come off in a day? We have to do this pitch meeting to Mrs. Thornton again."
What an interesting show.
And then he goes, "Yeah, it'll come off in a day or two. If I loofah every day."
Loofah.
That's what my wife Annie says.
Annie, you don't know anything.
So they said loofah, so I laughed a lot.
It's funny. It's 2 syllables, and it's feminine.
I think the only thing that could have been funnier in the show is if while he talked about loofahs, he was eating taquitos.
Yeah, because taquito is the second funniest word behind taquito.
Taquito is the second funniest word behind taquito, so then loofah's third.
Yeah.
So he has to cover up the makeup because Mrs. Thornton shows up. So he's covering his eye and
Oh, yeah. It's
walking
funny.
around with his hand over his face.
That's so funny.
And then she tries to look at him like he's doing something weird because he is. So he grabs her and starts spinning her and dancing her and pushing her like he's dancing with her. And
Stupid.
I don't know much about the ad business,
I don't know much about the ad business.
but I feel like absolutely molesting and pushing and throwing the person you're trying to win their account for is not the best way to get that account.
You don't live in Stockbridge, do you?
No, I don't. It's a Norman Rockwell town.
Didn't he push his wife around?
I doubt it.
I don't know about that. I'm sorry, I won't speak about that
You
again.
shouldn't. He paints classic Chevys.
You mean pieces of shit?
No, I mean classic cars.
I know, well, anyways. I was calling Chevy's a piece of shit.
I know.
Go on.
So he puts his hands on her, is molesting his client, and she said she's going to discuss the pitch meeting of the Norman Rockwell stuff on Good Morning Stockbridge. And then they claim that he's holding his hand over his eye because it's got a horrible headache, and she doesn't want to be there when it peaks.
Peak oil.
I mean, Peak Oil is my bro. I didn't know he was involved in the show, but it's pretty cool.
Hey.
Nice shout out for him.
It's good work when you can get it.
They say it's a horrible headache. You don't want to be there when it peaks, and we both like high-fived when they said that.
That was so cool.
And then they said, we'll call you when his headache's gone, and we can talk about this more. And then she believes it and walks away.
Yeah, she's stupid.
The second she leaves, Annie comes in, and she says, you guys need to see this clip of stuff on the news. And they turn on the TV. It's this Alice Cooper video that they were shooting last night at his house. They know all music videos are shot in the house of the star.
Of course. Oh, yeah, and they always shoot a making of.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then send it to the news station.
So they shoot this making of. It goes to the news station in the morning or afternoon, as that dumb wife called it.
What are you, her?
They claim it's the making of, but they proceed to play the entire video.
Like the do-do-do-do-do-do-do
Yeah,
loop.
It's played the entire way, and like Alice Cooper and Gene Wilder are like jumping around, and there's like the dominatrix girl and stuff, and she's like whipping him with a little tassel thing, and they call it a cat of nine tails, and it was not a cat of nine tails. I mean, I don't know anything because I'm not into dominatrix stuff, but I just know that that's not a cat of nine tails.
That's not what my son tells me.
My son. The news guy says, we'll have more at 6, 10, 11, and then the morning AM Stockbridge. So not only do they have more of this making of, even though they played the entire video, but they have so much more that they can play it on 4 different amounts throughout the
Well,
day.
Stockbridge is probably not a lot going on.
That's true.
So this is probably the biggest thing that's happened there since they announced that they were doing the Norman Rockwell ad campaign.
That's so funny. But what makes it even funnier is that they said, oh, she didn't see this because she's in her car leaving Mrs. Thornton. So she wasn't going to see it, but then they were going to replay it more, and then she will see it.
Didn't
so,
you think that was the sloppiest?
Yeah.
Sloppiest device. If anyone ever says what the audience would actually be thinking, oh, she won't hear it because she's in her car, that's fucking sloppy.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Oh, she won't hear it because she's in her car. Oh, but then we hear, oh, but there are other opportunities, especially the show that she'll be on herself in the morning. That's stupid. You heard it here, folks.
So it goes from them talking about how she didn't see it because she's in a car to them freaking out and going, we lost every account.
That's 4 today and 2 this morning.
So they lost every single account except for one at this moment.
Oh, yes.
I want to know how they lost these accounts.
I don't know.
They claim the country club saw this and didn't want to be associated with them. But why?
I don't know. Because it changes everything.
His name was not in the video. They could not possibly be linked to his company through this music video.
I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe they're just pissed. But the thing is, isn't he probably the only ad agency in this small town?
I'm sure.
So what are they going to do? Just not have one?
Probably.
God, I don't get this town.
What is this, amateur town? But I mean, especially in a pre-internet era, they could not identify this man. Like a
There's
random
no
person
way.
could not go, hey, that's Gene from that PR firm over there.
What a dumb...
Or advertising
dumb
firm, whatever
show.
the hell it's called.
It's funny that the nerd also followed the exploits of a PR agent.
That's a good job. So it's rife for the sitcom.
It is. It's like the crazy people you'll meet when you need to do this kind of job.
It really bothers me how he lost these accounts.
It defies all logic.
He's wearing a shirt that says Stockbridge. I'll give him that. So they know like what town it is, but they don't have his company's name. They don't have their company's name. They don't have his name in the video. They don't have his name listed as an extra or as an actor. And it doesn't say like anything about, hey, come to Stockbridge because we're cool and this company is involved in this music video. It has no connection to him other than they know it's him, but they all fired him.
It's just a small town with small town values, and they don't value people being in rock and roll videos.
So then Annie comes in with a newspaper, and she goes, Gene, you really did it this time. You knocked O.J. Simpson off the front page.
Oh my God, I could only imagine if that must have been funny at one point.
Yeah, it was really funny because like the trial was going on and stuff.
We
Remember O.J. like killed his wife?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier,
Yeah,
which is strange.
he was acquitted.
Yeah, he was aqueducted. It was really interesting.
Yeah, they poured water all over him.
And then they put Aquavalva on him.
They waterboarded him, actually, to get him to confess that he didn't kill his wife.
He was like, I killed her. And then he was like, how about now? Drip, drip. Okay, I didn't kill my wife. Okay, the glove don't fit. See you later, guys.
But the trial was still going on at this point, so he got knocked off the front page by how great Gene is with his cool rock video. And I feel like the rock video would really translate well to the newspaper.
I believe so.
It might work if it was one of the Harry Potter newspapers where the images could move.
I completely agree. Or the futuristic newspapers that the guy that shot JFK through the time machine was reading.
Yeah. He'd probably be aiming, though.
No, the guns in the future aim themselves. In the future, an assassin is best friends with his sentient gun, and he's reading the paper, and he leans back and goes, hey, gun, do your job. And the gun's like, you gonna take me out to the nudie bar? He's like, yeah, maybe. Have a girl stroke your barrel. And he's like, okay. Bam! JFK's dead, and the world's never the same.
It's sad. So Annie says, you knocked OJ off the front page. And then he goes, Annie, for a third time. Because it's really funny. I wonder if they did that in other episodes.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
So not only, they also kind of stole that from...
Honeymooners?
Yes.
Well, he alludes to honeymooners on the couch when they're talking to Alice Cooper.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah, he's like, one of these days. Oh, yeah, Alice,
yeah,
one of these
Alice,
days.
one of these days.
That's pathetic. That is truly makes me want to puke. I'm not even kidding.
Makes me want to laugh really
This is
hard.
the worst. This is an abomination. This is a bad fucking show.
This show is like the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
It's something that shouldn't exist.
Well, I feel you shouldn't probably go on because you're friends with him.
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
was
tell
friends
him,
with him.
what happened with him. What is it with you? You can't keep a friend.
Well, for this time, it was about the Patriots game.
I should have known.
He thought that the Patriots would beat the Oilers back in 1993.
What a guy.
And I was like, dude, how stupid are you, you abominable dummy?
Don't call an Abominable Snowman dummy.
Listen, I was friends with him at the time. He could
Ugh.
take it. And I was like, you are so stupid. And then he's like, the Oilers are always going to be a team. And that's what I bet him. I was like, I bet the Oilers will win this game, and the Oilers won't even be a team anymore after this.
Ooh.
And then he's like,
hot bet.
he's like, I'll take that bet.
Oh, he's such a gambler. Oh, he's so on the edge.
And then, you know, I win again.
Oh.
I'm independently wealthy from all this gambling, and this snowman just couldn't take it, and he flipped out and trashed my house, and I was like, you get out of here.
That's fucked.
You're abominable.
I
That's how I
remember...
gave him that nickname, actually. He was just called the Snowman before that. And I was like, you're an abomination. And then that kind of... My neighbor, the lady that lives next door, she was
I
like...
love her.
She was like, oh, he's an abominable snowman. That's his first name.
Hey, let me just say something real quick. Say I know more about time machine travel than I let on.
Do you?
I don't know. Say I do.
I don't think you do, because
No,
I'm the
I
one that
said
came up with the
say I
magic bullet
do.
theory.
Say
Is
I
that some
do.
magic phrase that's going to make this timeline that you think is happening going to happen?
Listen, you notice something just moved on your desk?
Oh, wow. I'm still not going to say that, because I have a feeling the fact that you want me to say that phrase so much means I shouldn't say it.
What phrase?
I don't even remember, honestly. Gene Wilder goes over to Alice Cooper's house because he's going to try to get the makeup off, because they go, oh, maybe Alice Cooper knows how to get this makeup off. And then he shows up at the house, and his wife is with him, and she's all dressed up kind of like a punk girl, because she's really an Alice Cooper.
I like it.
It was.
She's an attractive female, okay?
I mean, I didn't think she was that special, and then I saw her in that shirt, and I was like, habango.
They really brought her to the forefront of my mind.
I was
if you
like-
know what I'm saying.
I was like, bazinga.
I love that show.
Yeah,
What is
I
that
know.
show?
It's the best show. It's called Boy Meets World.
I love Sean Ryder Strong.
Yeah, he's good.
I bet he did. That's all I'm going to say. Ryder Strong.
I like how he said bazinga a lot.
He was like, my dad lives in a trailer park. Bazinga.
He's like, my dad's a janitor. Bazinga.
Hey, Sean, I'm going to have to go chase your mother around some more. Bazinga.
One down to be just like you, Dad. Bazinga.
Shawnee, I got to go. I have a heart attack to have. Died, Bazinga.
But Dad. Bazinga, bazinga.
And he never looked back. Sean Ryder Bazinga Strong. Do 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 beedly boo. Boy Meets World is taping for the live studio audience.
So Gene says, "Oh, what? You forgot your camera?" And his wife goes, "I did forget my camera." And then she runs off screen to go get the camera to take a picture of Alice Cooper with. So then the guy with the mouse talks to Gene for a second. He goes, "Hey, you traumatized my mouse," and that was really funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it when he calls back to other jokes.
So it's not only a rule of threes, but it's a callbacks.
The people that wrote this knew every rule and how to ineffectively apply it.
So then Gene goes, "Okay, I'm sorry." And then he goes, "Okay, I want to talk to Alice." And the guy goes, "Alice doesn't live here anymore."
Illusion.
"I'm just kidding." And then he lets him in. Alice and Gene are sitting on the couch talking, and he's like, "How can I get this makeup off?" And he starts giving him crap to get the makeup off. And it's not really funny or anything. Annie shows up with her camera and jumps on the couch, takes a picture of Alice Cooper, and then they're all hanging out. And she goes, "I'm going to send these pictures to all the people I went to high school with, and they're going to want to visit Stockbridge." Gene goes, "Really?" Idea moment, bazinga moment.
Bazinga! Light bulb over my head.
And then it cuts to Mrs. Thornton and her granddaughter, who we've never seen before, showing up at the advertising place.
And that granddaughter, she's not too bad either, if you know what I'm talking about, in the looks department. And I got a job in the looks department, and I'm going to put her on layaway.
Jack takes Mrs. Thornton and her granddaughter to the table, and they sit down.
Oh, you're really painting a picture for me
Thank
here.
you. They walk across the stage. He sits down in a chair. They sit in another chair, and then the granddaughter sits on top of Jean's desk because she's like kind of a rebel in a skirt.
Gosh, she's cool. Floral print dress.
Yes.
Ready to impress.
Guess who comes out? Alice Cooper, Gene Wilder, and Annie. They all come out, and they are in punk clothes, and they dance and they sing.
What are the lyrics? I don't remember.
I didn't write them all down because they were too long and like intricate.
You got that right.
Basically, Alice Cooper's like saying like, "I've been to a lot of places, but the coolest place I've been to is Norman Rockwell's town, Stockbridge. It's a cool place.
Stockbridge.
You don't need mace." That's what Annie says.
Oh, that's funny.
And then Stockbridge, lots of parking space. That's what Gene says.
Oh, the audience laughs.
And then they say, "Stockbridge, I like it."
Don't they say I like it twice?
Yeah, they do.
Those are the worst lyrics I've ever heard in my life.
But so Stockbridge is
I like it. I like it.
Stockbridge is really cool. You don't need mace when you live there, and there's lots of parking space. So 3 things I don't care about in my towns. And then Mrs. Thornton is like, "I like it."
Pretty good. They did a good job. Where
And her-
they go, I like it. I like it. I like it.
And her granddaughter, like, was on the desk. She was like, "Alice Cooper." Oh.
Alice Cooper. Oh my God. He's one of my favorite musicians. Great. So cool.
So then, yeah, they all like it. And then it ends. Presumably, they get the account back, and then they get other accounts like they wanted.
Well, if they get more accounts, then they can get more accounts. It's like the Abominable Snowman's body parts.
You know,
It's a snowball effect.
I'd appreciate if we don't talk about him. He used to be a friend of mine, so
He used to be a friend of mine.
I don't want to say anything I might regret.
The Oilers will never be a team once again.
That's true. That's my bet. Hey, I make some bets and I sticks to it and I gets my monies.
I think Peak Oil was angry about that.
Well, yeah, but I'm still friends with him though, so he had my side in the whole thing.
Good guy, Peak Oil, right there.
Peak Oil used to be pretty tight with Abominable Snowman, and then like we made that bet, things kind of happened, and Peak Oil was on my side.
Peak Oil's a good guy, but he calls you, says, "I'll be there in no time," and then he calls again and says, "I'm almost there," and he never shows up.
Yeah, it's weird.
But whatever, he's a cool guy.
Hey, I'm cool with him. It's kind of funny he didn't take the Oilers' side in that argument, but
That's what I'm saying. I thought he'd be pissed.
you know he's cool. He's a rational dude.
Yeah, he is.
He's a signifier of things to come.
He is. Some would say he peaks around the corner of our existence and our life.
Can you say you learned anything from this episode?
I'm going to move to Stockbridge and I'm going to open up a little jam shop. Jam as in riddly guitar jam songs.
Where was Stockbridge anyway? I think it was like
I don't know,
New York.
Illinois,
It was New England. It was definitely New England
probably. Prauls.
because like they on the poster in the beginning they had New York written on a poster. So I assume maybe it's upstate New York
Probably.
or
Yeah, I think Norman Rockwell's from. He sounds like
or
he's from New York.
Connecticut or something. It's something like within driving distance of New York City, I believe.
Probably.
I'm just guessing. I don't know.
You can guess all you want. I think you're right. Whatever you say at this point You're as right as can be.
Okay, cool. He's not your son.
Oh, shit.
That's what you learned? You learned you're going to open up a jam shop in Stockbridge,
Yes.
regardless of where it is?
I don't care where it is as long as I'm near whatever his name is, Gene Wilder and Anne Hathaway.
That'd be so cool if you, like, got to be the next door neighbor of Gene Wilder and, like, lived by Alice Cooper, too.
I think I'm formulating a plan in my brain space.
I mean, I'm sure it's pretty expensive to live there, though.
Don't crush my dreams.
Hey, man, you just got to save some money.
I don't have money.
You got to place some good bets on some football games with me and see if we're friends
That's
later.
a good idea. Well, I don't save money. I make it.
Okay, well, then make it and then go buy a
I
house in
don't
Stockbridge.
burn trash. I throw it in the garbage can.
That's what most people do.
I'm like most people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say I learned that rock music is pretty annoying
Oh, yeah.
when it's like played 18 times in a row. And then also, it's annoying when people listen to Barney in the morning.
Oh, my God.
And then also, if you're an ad guy, you're going to lose clients when people see you in music videos. For some reason, that wouldn't be good publicity for your ad firm and thus your company, even though you can't connect it back.
We live in a crazy world and everything's connected.
We live in a world that makes zero sense, and it's called something wilder.
Wilder than what? Well, my friend, just about everything you've ever experienced.
You know what? Actually, I think our world is something wilder because this show exists in it.
You're right. It's a world within a world, and it is something wilder. But what's wilder than the thing that gives birth to something wilder? Well, it's something wilder.
Then explain Godzilla.
Okay. Godzilla's actually a farmer, and he did a hybrid tomato plant, and he ate it, and then he grew super strong, and then he went around and he ate trees, and he got big and strong.
He got big and strong twice.
Well, Godzilla's like, if you look at Godzilla, you'll notice he has all the trademarks of someone who got big and strong up to 4 times and maybe 5.
Wow.
And that's all from trees and tomatoes. So eat your vegetables, kids.
Yeah, hey, would you mind putting your arms in these straps in this chair you're sitting in?
Hey, that looks fun. Is this like a theme park ride?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be really fun.
Wait a minute. This feels like that time.
That time that you were back at the mental institution?
No, that time I tried to eat a screwdriver.
Yeah, okay, that's the same thing.
We'll see. Hey, can you tell my son to eat my shorts?
Not sure he's your son, but I'll tell him, I'll pass the message along.
Okay. Hey, how about you pass this? This was a test. I'm from the future.
Okay, Mr. Man.
Remember that thing I said you'd say?
Yes?
Okay, well, you'll say it. And you may have already said it. It's not like I know.
I definitely didn't say.
You know that movie with X-Men in it?
Yes.
Remember when he goes back in time?
I never saw that one.
Well, he goes back in time.
Who?
Wolverine. But yeah, anyways, he goes back in time. I'm kind of like him.
Okay.
Future, present, of past. Your son's my uncle.
I could believe that, maybe.
So we're agreed I'm related to your son by blood.
No, by marriage.
I don't believe it.
Okay, so just stay there in that chair I'm strapped you into while I call the nice lady to come take you away.
Okay.
She definitely won't ice pick your eyeball,
Okay.
and you definitely will be a functioning member of society.
Okay. I like being function.
Your last functional wish as a human being, what show would you like to be on TV?
The Archie Bunker nerd.
Yeah?
Where the nerd, he pisses Archie Bunker off.
Oh my god, could you imagine how angry Archie would be at him?
Oh my god, he'd be like, hey, let's get this nerd out of here.
You know how mad he gets at Meathead sometimes? And he's like, oh, Meathead! If you combined how mad he gets at Meathead with how mad he gets at Edith, that would be like half of what he gets mad at the nerd.
Oh shit, I'm having a funny gasm. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think Archie Bunker would get so mad at the nerd, he'd probably break his chair. And then the chair wouldn't be in the Smithsonian nowadays, and it would be
Is that-
sad. Yeah, it is.
Oh, well, looks like I know my next mission is to sit in that chair and smoke a cigar for old boy, my son.
I'm not sure it's your son.
Me, his nephew. He, my uncle, and he's my son.
Are you Native American now?
Me like pizza. Me like pie. Me go to clone high.
We could do an episode of that.
Yeah, see? I told you someone would say something. I may have said it was you, but it looks like it was me. It looks like I am you.
Looks like you are looping yourself in your time frame.
I'm you, you are me. But if I am me, then you surely are you. A great man once said that.
I think you're reaching a time paradox.
but I like to morning. Time is afternoon. See you later. I like bananas.
You're fading away.
I like pizza pie in the afternoon. 1973. Whoa,
This
cool.
picture of you disappeared, and you are disappearing next to me. I don't get it.
Quick, pass me my guitar.
Okay.
Hey, get a load of this. You know that new sound you were looking for? I think I found it. Listen.
See you later.
Bye.
Evan invented rock and roll.
This has been a So Well Read production.
So well read.